In this lecture, we'll start with the Ethereum blockchain. We all know that the Bitcoin blockchain is the mother of all blockchains. That means whatever the blockchains developed so far, all these blockchains have been inspired from the Bitcoin blockchain. And many of the features, the working procedures or functionalities have been grasped based on by considering them as the foundation. On top of that, several other features might have been developed in the latest blockchains. In 2013, Vitalik Buterin from Russia have introduced this Ethereum blockchain. When he introduced, he is just of 19 years age. So he introduced this Ethereum blockchain with the code execution framework. It works similar to the Bitcoin blockchain itself, but have the facility of code execution, which is called as smart contract. We have seen in the last lecture the Bitcoin scripts, how the Bitcoin scripts executes just like the mission opcode or mission instructions in our microcontrollers or microprocessors. And we have also seen that the Bitcoin script is like fourth like stack based Turing incomplete language. So that usually will be generated internally in the Bitcoin protocol itself whenever any transaction has been initiated. But in the Ethereum, it is a facility given to the developers to create the logic for their application needs. That is what the smart contract is. So the central theme or the central objective of the Ethereum is smart contract. Ethereum is a blockchain with computational framework which led to development of decentralized applications. So because of this computational framework, this Ethereum has been widely used for developing the decentralized applications. So here is the figure that shows the difference between the Bitcoin and Ethereum. If we observe, say here the computer hardware, on top of that a peer-to-peer network operating system is installed. Either it may be any of the operating system which supports the peer-to-peer operations. Now, if you come to the Bitcoin point of view, this hardware and operating system is quite common to any computer. But here Bitcoin blockchain protocol operations, and on top of it, that is on top of this, the wallet will be installed. So this is a very simple architecture where you have the Bitcoin protocol and on top of that wallet is going to be installed. While coming to here, on top of this computer, so we are supposed to install first the Ethereum blockchain and Ethereum virtual machine. So here the EVM is said to be Ethereum virtual machine. So we are supposed to install this Ethereum virtual machine. Then we can connect to the Ethereum blockchain. So every computer or every node that is running or using the Ethereum will be installed with the Ethereum virtual machine. So which is the first and primemost requirement for running the Ethereum blockchain. So hence the installation of Ethereum includes the Ethereum virtual machine installation. On top of this Ethereum blockchain and EVM, we will be having the application framework. So what this application framework in which the developers can write smart contracts and can execute on the Ethereum virtual machine. On top of this application framework, you will be having the verticals, that is end user applications. These end user applications may be the decentralized applications that you may develop using the front end, such as Web3 or JavaScript. So, or we can say Web3.js or the API that will be used for connecting the JavaScript applications or HTML and JavaScript applications, which are front end, that will be connected to this application framework, then followed to the Ethereum virtual machine. So this is what the framework of the EVM or the Ethereum. So because of the flexibility of provided by EVM, it is so because of the availability of EVM, it is more flexible and can be installed on any computer and can work with the Ethereum blockchain. So here is a very strict, very simple architecture only, but there is no facility of the user-defined logic or user-programmable logic, or maybe there is no thing like that. What call the end-user applications development on top of the Bitcoin, but these features have been provided in the Ethereum. So this is what the main difference between the Bitcoin and Ethereum blockchains with respect to their architectural point of view. So it is now time to discuss what is smart contract. So smart contract is a piece of code that is included in the blockchain node is said to be the smart contract. So it is a piece of code. So what is this code? This consisting of some business logic. So this business logic will be included in the blockchain node. So whenever the corresponding transaction is being initiated, automatically this logic will be executed and the related operations will happen. Messages embedded in the blockchain initiates the execution of the smart contract. Digital currency simply have addition and subtraction operations. On the other hand, Ethereum have condition for transaction. If you look at the Bitcoin blockchain, if you want to send some BTCs to any person, here only the addition and subtraction operations will be available. That means that that much BTCs will be deducted. That means subtracted from your account, and that many BTCs will be added to the receiver's account. This is the only addition and subtraction will be there in the digital currency, or maybe in case of cryptocurrency like Bitcoin. But in case of Ethereum, we can also keep conditions. So this addition and subtractions will be performed only when, that means some conditions, on condition. This kind of condition, because of this introduction of the condition, it will be useful for the business applications or business conditions to be executed. Conditions may be verification of account, or adding more than one signature, or maybe checking for some variable, maybe any other thing that can be used as condition. That means if the verification of account is successful, then only the adding of some cryptocurrency will be happened, or if one or more signature is valid, then only this amount may be credited. So this kind of conditions you may place. For example, consider the auction process. The condition may be written as like this. The condition here is the bidder's age is greater than 18 and minimum bid is met, then accept the bid, else reject the bid. Simple if else condition. If this condition met, then accept the bid, otherwise reject the bid. So what is the meaning of this? Here accepting, rejecting takes place, but on condition. In the same way, consider an insurance company. The condition may be written as follows. Now I would like to give you a simple case to understand this. So here there is a third party insurance company. That insurance company usually will contact the flight travelers, the one who will always travel by flight, and who have many business engagements from one place to other place. Now usually this insurance company, what they will do is they have a scheme that if the flight was arrived, or flight was reached the destination, if the flight was delayed at the destination by more than 1 hour, they will pay some insurance. That is like the amount of the ticket, okay, amount of ticket, or 5,000 rupees, whichever is maximum. This is what their condition, their scheme of insurance. That means if the flight was delayed at the destination by more than 1 hour, then the insurance company will pay an amount of rupees 5,000 or the ticket price, okay, ticket fare, whichever is lower. That is what the insurance people used to pay the flight travelers or passengers who will travel by flight. Here, here, in such a cases, the condition is like this. Consider the insurance company. The condition may be written as if flight arrival time minus scheduled arrival time is greater than 1 hour, grant the insurance. So that is what the meaning here. They should be knowing the flight arrival time and scheduled arrival time. So if this is the difference, if this difference is greater than 1 hour, whenever that passenger comes out of the airport, he must get that insurance. In order to pay that insurance, that passenger should deposit a premium of rupees 500 at least 8 hours before the departure of the flight. Okay, this is another condition. That means unless until you won't pay the premium, you will not get the insurance. Like that, the passenger should pay rupees 500 towards the premium for this agreement at least 8 hours before the departure of the flight. In such a cases only this insurance will come into the force. So that means what is the other condition that can be checked at the insurance end is the insurance agents has to check the condition that whether the corresponding passenger have paid rupees 500 towards the premium before the arrival, before the flight departure time. That need to be checked at the insurance agent, and at the clearing agent, at the clearing section of the insurance, they have to see whether the flight arrival time minus scheduled arrival time is greater than or equal to 1. Then they need to grant the insurance. Now, from where they need to get this arrival time and scheduled arrival time? Obviously, they need to get from the airline industry, who is operating that airlines. They may be having the tie-up with the airlines like the SpiceJet, or maybe international travels, or maybe international flight agencies. So that airline industry should have will be having this particular thing. So insurance agent, that the third party insurance agent, should have the contact with these people. Otherwise, they cannot get what is the flight arrival time, what is the scheduled arrival time, these details. That means you are going to, that means the insurance agent is going to access this, and with that the condition will be checked. If the condition is satisfied, the insurance has been released to that corresponding passenger who paid that particular premium. So this is a structure. This is the insurance of a flight or flight based insurance, where you have the parties like airline industry, customers, and the insurance agent, and these are the conditions on which any one of the scheme is going to be working on. So like that, they may have multiple schemes. Each and every scheme have their own conditions, and all these conditions has to be executed so that the entire their entire work can be run on the blockchain. In such a cases, how you will code those conditions, that is what the smart contract is. Those conditions will be coded with the help of smart contract. Our smart contract is a simple business logic that will be included in the blockchain, so that whenever a related transaction is going to be invoked, then corresponding smart contract will be executed, and that execution of the smart contract will check the condition. If the condition is satisfied, then the rest of the operations carry on, otherwise it will not happen. So that is what the advantage of the smart contracts in the blockchains. Consider an automatic debit system. If minimum balance is greater than 5,000 and today is the second day of the month, initiate money transfer, else initiate alarm to the customer. So what is this is what is called automatic debit system that you usually many of the people, many business people, they used to set in their internet account. That is, they want to send continuously some fixed amount on the second day or third day of the month to particular account. In such cases, they cannot every time they cannot sit and they cannot do that. So they may do this iteration, or they may initiate this transaction for at least 12 months. They can set up this for 12 months, then they can be relaxed, so that every month on the second day or third day from their account that much amount will be transferred to some other account. So this is a kind of a banking case where amount will be transferred from one account to other account by checking the condition that whether the current day is the second day of the month or not. If the sufficient balance is not maintained, then alarm will be sent to the customer. These kind of conditions will be represented in terms of the smart contracts. Like that, whatever the project cases you have taken, you need to find out the functional requirements, and based upon the functional requirements, you need to design the smart contracts, and you may code it using Solidity programming language that I will discuss afterwards in this series of lectures only. So you need to design or you need to code in the Solidity programming language, and once you design it, then for the user interface, you can create a HTML or JavaScript code via using JavaScript, and you may include that smart contract or tie up that with the front end application and can execute on the blockchain. Next, we'll move on to the how to code smart contracts. A smart contract includes data and condition with set and get operations on data. So setting the data and getting the data. So setter methods and get methods. These are the methods usually in Java programming, also in the Java Bean classes. So you will be seeing three different functions like set functions, get functions, and use functions. So these are this is inspired from that. It resembles the basic unit of encapsulation in object orientation called class. The entire smart contract will be looking like a basic unit of encapsulation in object orientation, which is called class. In that class only, we'll write all the variables and we'll write constructor, we'll write the set method, get method, and many other methods. Like that, here also we'll make a class called contract. Here we'll call it as, in the case of object orientation, we'll call it as class, but we'll call in this as the contract in case of Solidity. So whatever the code I am going to show you now is called a contract, or it is a Solidity programming language structure. Now, Solidity is a high-level language used to write smart contracts in Ethereum. The following code snippet shows the writing of smart contract using Solidity. We all know that if you write a C program, we'll include hash include stdio.h, which is standard input output.h. In case of Java programming, we use import java.util.star or something. While coming to the Python programming, import from so and so classes, like that. In the same way, here we need to include the top that is library called Pragma Solidity cap. This is a cap symbol 0.4.0. That means in order to write this program, I am using the Solidity version 0.4.0. The latest version may be 13, 14, 15. However, whatever the programming, whatever the library you are using, that related library must be included or as the first statement. That is Pragma Solidity 0.4.0. When you write like this, and if you try to compile this program on the compiler 0.3.0, then you may get some errors, because from the version 0.3.0 to 0.4.0, new libraries and new features may be added. If you use those features, that cannot be compiled. So you must be very careful in writing the version number. So you should be aware of which version and what are the its libraries that you are going to use in the program. Based on that, the corresponding compiler need to be chosen for compiling this Solidity programming language. Okay, so Pragma Solidity, this is the cap symbol 0.4.0. That means this program is a program which is using 4.0 library. Now contract simple balance. So here just like class name, like that contract name, bracket open, unsigned integer, because here the balance should be in the unsigned form. So 0 to some positive number. So unsigned integer my balance. Now function set unsigned integer balance, my balance is equal to balance. Function get constant returns unsigned integer, return my balance. So here this function is just like looking like JavaScript. Okay, in JavaScript, whenever we write functions, we'll write function name of some parameters. Like that, this functions is going to be defined, and overall structure, if you look at it, is just like looking like a Java class. And if you want to instantiate also, you will use simple balance is equal to simple balance SB is equal to some new operator and simple balance. Like that, you will go for instantiation of this contract. And within this, if you want to use functions, function set, this will look like JavaScript. So where does this computational infrastructure exist in the node? Where does the code executes? This particular code executes, and how to execute the code irrespective of underlying hardware? For all these things, only one answer. What is what? Ethereum virtual machine. So this Ethereum virtual machine will go for the will be used as the computational infrastructure in the existing node, and this code will be executed by the EVM, and this EVM will help us to execute these smart contracts irrespective of the underlying hardware. It is just like Java virtual machine, irrespective of the hardware and operating system. If you install the corresponding JVM, you can run the Java programs. Just like that, the same concept has been used here. If you look at here, this is the architecture. Just now we discussed it. So the Ethereum virtual machine application framework here, smart contracts. On top of that, we'll write the front-end applications where the end user will interact. So end user will give some inputs and all, and the smart contracts executes, and these will be executed under the control of the EVM. So this is the main structure of Solidity code to write the smart contracts, and these smart contracts will be executed by the Ethereum virtual machine. And you are supposed to mention which compiler you are going to use for running this Solidity code, so that the EVM will use that compiler version for running this code or executing this code. Now we'll see the structure of Ethereum. The state of Bitcoin blockchain is defined using the unspent transactions output. We have seen in the Bitcoin script. So first of all, there will be a locking script and unlocking script, which will decide these unspent transactions. But the Ethereum has introduced the concept of accounts as part of the protocol. Accounts is nothing but everyone who is participating in the Ethereum blockchain will be having his own account. The account is the originator and target of the transaction. A transaction directly updates the account balance. Previously, there is no kind of the account or something, but completely whether a Bitcoin has been spent or not will come to know only with the help of the unspent transaction output and the hash pointers to the previous references. While coming to this Ethereum, here the state of here Ethereum introduced the concept of account. So if any participant is there, the participant will be having his own account. And one more beauty of this is whatever how many number of smart contracts you create or you develop in the Bitcoin in the Ethereum blockchain, all these smart contracts will be having its own account numbers. That means there is a personal account number, and for every smart contract you will be having a smart contract account number. Like that, if a blockchain application consisting of 10 smart contracts, each contract will be having its own account number, and any business logic upon execution, whatever the amount it has to receive or it has to send, everything will be based upon the smart contract account number, and with reference to the smart contract account number, these operations will happen. So there are two types of accounts: externally owned accounts. These are controlled by private keys. It is essential to participate in the Ethereum network. While coming to the contract accounts, these are controlled by code and can be activated only by externally owned accounts. It represents a smart contract. The externally owned account is your own account, or the account in the business environment, either customer account, maybe the insurer account, or maybe any other account. These are controlled by private keys. The reason is you are supposed to sign this account, otherwise it cannot be verified. So that reason these are controlled by private keys, and it is essential to participate in the Ethereum network. Unless until you don't have an account, you cannot enter into the Ethereum network. So that is the reason it is an essential thing, and also it will be operated using the private keys. Any operation that you perform using this account has to be signed with the private key. So obviously anyone knows the one who knows the public key can easily verify the transaction, so that they will come to know whether you have really initiated the transaction or not. But the second account is like contract account. These contract accounts are controlled by code and can be activated only by the externally owned accounts. The insurer can write the condition, or insurer can write the smart contract like this: if flight arrival time minus scheduled arrival time is greater than 1 hour, grant the insurance. Where this insurance will go? Obviously this insurance has to go from some account. Here insurer is not the main one. So the insurer may be having several customers. Okay. So insurer cannot take care of all these things from his account. So that is the reason for this smart contract, one account will be created, and this account, from this account, the amount will be deducted from the insurer's source, and the amount will be sent to your that is customer's account. So that is what the externally owned accounts and the contract accounts. So here the contract accounts, they are controlled by code. What is this code? Their business logic code. That is upon if condition, if else condition. That is what we have seen in the as part of the contract. So they are controlled by code and can be activated only by externally owned accounts. Since the insurer is having EOA and the customer is having an externally owned account, so they only can activate these contracts. So here is the reference number, input, output. This is in case of Bitcoin. While coming to the Ethereum, there is an account which is added to this. So this account will be having the externally owned account. This EOA can create, can activate contract accounts. Every account has coin balance. EOA interact with the blockchain using transactions. Ethereum blockchain consisting of header, just like your Bitcoin blockchain. In the Bitcoin blockchain, we have seen header, transaction, and runner-up block headers. These three information are available in the blocks of the Ethereum. So structure of Ethereum, participant nodes can initiate transaction for Ether transfer or to invoke smart contracts. Both acts requires transaction fee. That means whether you do initiation of the transaction or Ether transfer, both acts require transaction fee, also called as gas. So this transaction fee is a big gas. In case of Bitcoin, we'll call it as Bitcoins. So here it is gas. The fuel or payment model for code execution. Transaction is initiated only if sufficient balance is maintained. So only, for example, if you want to transfer 1 Ether, so for 1 Ether, there may be a transaction fee of some point not 1 Ether something. If your account is having 1.0001 Ethers in your account, then only the transaction will be initiated. Even though you have 1 Ether, you cannot directly transfer 1 Ether. That transaction fee should also be part of your basic balance. Then only the transaction will be initiated. So transaction is initiated only if sufficient balance is maintained. Fees are paid in Ether lowest denomination called Y. Y is the lowest denomination in Ether, where in Bitcoin Satoshis is the lowest denomination. 1 Ether is equal to 10 power 18 Ys. So you look at 10 power 18 Ys is 1 Ether. Okay, that is 1 e power 9 gigabytes. Miner earn gas points based upon Ether transfer amount. Example, let A has sent B 100 Ethers, then miner may earn 21,000 gas points to add block to blockchain. One gas point is equal to 4 gigabytes. Like that, are depend upon the transaction. So if the number of ethers that you are sending is more, obviously the gas points will also increase. So like that, a simple example has been given. This is a general structure of calculating the gas points. A transaction consisting of recipient of the message, who is the recipient, signature of the sender authorizing transaction, amount of way to transfer, message to a contract, which may be the optional, start gas, that is number of computational steps allowed for transaction, gas price, fee for computation. So if you want to initiate any transaction in the Ethereum, the transaction will consisting of these features. So here is the Ethereum transaction structure. You can go to this link and you can also see this. Yeah, this is the Ethereum structure. So here you can go to the etherscan.io website. There you can find the block with the help of address. Just like how we have seen in the Bitcoin blockchain, by going to the bitcoin.com, and there you go for the searching of a block. So here this is also consisting of the transaction hash. This is the transaction hash, and status, whether this transaction has been executed or not. Block, what is the block number, timestamp. So when this particular transaction is initiated, from whom, who is the one initiated this transaction, interacted with the contract, what is the contract it interacted with. So this is the contract address. This is the contract address. That means in future, if I want to recover, whether the insurance amount have been reached the customer or not. So I no need to go for verification of each and every transaction in my entire consultancy or insurance agency. Just if I know what is the plan they have opted for, customer opted for, the related smart contract account, if I look at it, then I can easily come to know whether this contract, whether this particular payment has been initiated or not. So automatically this will also consisting of this contracted address, via which contract execution this transaction has happened. The details will also be there here. Tokens transferred from whom to whom, from how much. So next, what is the value? Transaction fee is 0.003963 ethers. Gas price is 0.000001 ether. Ether price $208.39 per ether. So this is what the transaction structure that you can see, that you can observe in this. So for this, you are supposed to go to the etherscan.io and you can see the latest block which was created in the public blockchain of Ethereum. And also you can also inspect various transactions that is happening in the. And here previously we have seen the block. So previously we have seen the transaction related block. Now we can also see the block number. You can type the block number so that you will get the block details. So what is the height of the block? That is 4446308. Timestamp when it was created. The transactions total, how many transactions are there in this block? 127 transactions and 28 contract internal transactions in this block. Block hash, parent hash, SHA-3 hash, mined by who mined this. So F2 pool underscore 2. This is the mining pool have mined this block. Difficulty of this block, total difficulty, size, gases used, gas used, gas limit, nonce, block reward. So all these see, you look at here, difficulty, total difficulty, size, all these are just like Bitcoin only. What extra are there? The contract information, that is 28 contract internal transactions are there, and total 127 transactions are included in this block. So that means in case of Bitcoin blockchain, you can have maximum of 7 transactions, but here you can include many transactions because of some flexibility included in this. At the same time, like Bitcoin, the Ethereum will also use the proof of work as the concept in case of public blockchain. You can also run a private network or a test network and can also work on that. So an Ethereum node is a computational system representing a business entity or individual participant. An Ethereum full node, like how Bitcoin consisting of full node and a client node, an Ethereum full node hosts the software needs needed for transaction initiation, validation, mining, block creation, smart contract execution, and a Ethereum virtual machine. Which is, if you have all these features, then it is said to be the Ethereum full node, like the Bitcoin full node, which is eligible for doing the mining operation also. So deploying and invocation of smart contract. So smart contract will be deployed on the Ethereum virtual machine. As you look at it here, SC1, SC2, smart contract 1, smart contract 2, 3, like that. Many things are there. Many contracts will be available or can be placed and executed on Ethereum virtual machine, and designed, developed, and executed and deployed on the Ethereum virtual machine. And you have an externally owned account, and your transaction will be used to invoke the corresponding smart contract, and every smart contract consisting of its own account information. Your transaction will register which smart contract has been invoked, which smart contract address has been invoked by this initiation. These details will also be recorded on the blockchain, just like this here. If you look at here, this is a transaction detail. In this transaction, from to contract. So which contract has been invoked after by this transaction? So this detail is also be recorded in the blockchain. So that is the reason every smart contract is having its own account, which is called smart contract account, and the account what is the account you are having is called externally owned account. So these are externally owned accounts are operated using private keys and also can use it to activate the smart contract accounts. And here are the Ethereum operations. The input needed for execution will be taken from payload field of the transaction. Results of the execution are stored in the receipts. Once the execution of the transaction is completed, the state of the smart contract will be updated. We have seen here the state of the smart contract, whether the contract has been executed or not, will be updated. So this contract is executed. Here some tick mark is there, green tick. So this is executed successfully. And also you can see at the bottom the function transfer of address to uint 256 underscore amount and method ID, and here is the transaction amount, and this is the address which was generated. So these details enter the contract execution. After contract execution, whatever the result, it will also be stored in the input data, and this information will be maintained in the transaction execution. State change by transaction are also stored in the blockchain. State change is nothing but whether the payment has been made or payment has not been made. This kind of things. For example, in the case of the property transfer, whenever a child attains 18 years of age, automatically the power of attorney, the control of the power of attorney should be transferred. The property should be transferred from power of attorney's name to the child's name. So that means here state change information, these detailed information will also be stored on the blockchain. Blockchain maintain both state and receipt hashes. So state hash will also be maintained and also receipt hash will also be maintained. Transaction validation involves checking of timestamp, sufficient balance for paying of the fee. If all these are satisfied, then only the transaction validation will be initiated. Miner node receives, verify, gather, and execute transactions. Invoked smart contract code will be executed by all miners. So whatever the corresponding smart contract code is there, this code will be executed by all miners. So all miners should get same answer. Then that means for this is just for the synchronization of whether they are going for correct transaction or not. Correct contract or not. At the same time, it is also essential for every miner to execute the related contract. Validated transactions are gathered and broadcasted for block creation. It is just like Bitcoin. Whatever the transactions validated, whatever gathered and validated will be broadcasted for block creation in the Ethereum also. So finally, we'll see this mining and incentive model in Ethereum. The consensus mechanism used in Ethereum is of memory based rather than processor based proof of work used in Bitcoin. Every action in the Ethereum requires crypto fuel called gas. Gas points are used to specify fee per ether or ease of competition using standard values. Gas points are cryptocurrency independent. Ethereum has defined specific gas points for each type of operation. Loading the variables into the memory, 20 gas points. Storing into memory. For example, your contract is having some variables that need to be loaded into the memory. Then obviously you are supposed to pay 20 gas points for that. Storing into the memory, 100 gas points. Transaction base fees, 21,000 gas points. Contract creation, 53,000 gas points. Automatically, for smart contract execution, more number of gas points will be spent or required for execution. Transaction cannot be initiated if insufficient balance to pay mining fee in the account. That already we have seen. The leftover amount of paying the mining fee will be returned to the original account. So it is just like in the Bitcoin, whatever the Bitcoins you want to transfer, you will transfer the remaining amount will again come back to your account. Just like that, you will be having the gas points, and you may have fixed with some more number of gas points, but that much gas points will not be spent actually for your transaction. If any gas points left, or if any amount was left, that amount will be returned back to your account. So that is which account? Externally owned account. In block, there are two gas related items: gas limit and gas spent. Gas limit, it is the amount of gas points available for a block to spend. This will be limited to every block. Example, for a block, gas limit is equal to 1.05 million units. Ether transaction fee is 21,000. Then block eligible for at most 70 plain Ether transactions. That means every block will be having a limit. Some limit will be fixed. So there is, for example, 1.05 million units. Then a transaction fee, a transaction happened in the Ethereum, maybe having 21,000 gas points. So such that a block is eligible for at most 70 plain Ether transactions to be included in that particular block. Because how many gas limit, what is the gas limit? Based upon that many number of transactions can be included in one block. As we have seen previously, here transactions, how many transactions included in this block? 4446308, around 127 transactions. How is it possible to include? The reason is it is having a gas limit. Here gas limit 6718946. Each and every transaction to execute, maybe some gas points are required. If you combine this 127 gas points, then it will be it may be less than this one. Okay, 6718946. That means here how many gas points used? 6694236. That means 99.63% of the gas limit has been used. So that no other transaction that will fit to this level. So that it is an 127 transactions that has almost occupied this number. So that is the reason. So 127 transactions were included in this block. I hope you got by this time how the transactions will be included. That is based upon the gas limit set by these blocks. Gas spent, actual amount spent at completion of the block creation. As we have seen just now, this is gas spent. So this much amount of gas points has been spent by the time of creation of the block. So the rest, the difference between the gas limit and gas unit used was the leftover points. So automatically with that size, no other transaction is there to fit in. So so that you cannot include any other transaction. By the end of 127 transactions, this entire thing is over. So hence the block has been created at the time. So this is the way how these gas points will be spent in the Ethereum blockchain. Also, we have seen that in order to create a block, first of all, a gas limit will be fixed. Gas limit is the maximum spendable gas points or gas units, and gas spent is the actual amount of gas spent. So that means if a block is limited with the gas limit of 1.05 million units, and if the Ether transaction fee is 21,000, then block is eligible for holding maximum of 70 plain Ether transactions, because the transaction fee or gas fee will differ from the transaction to transaction. As we have seen previously, that loading from memory, if the transaction don't have loading from memory, 20 gas points will not be spent. If the transaction has store into memory, then 100 gas points will be consumed. And if the transaction has some base fee, then 21,000 gas points. And if the transaction consisting of any contract creation kind of thing, then 53,000 gas points are there. Assume that if a transaction consisting of all these four operations to be performed, then 53,000 plus 21,000 plus 100 plus 20. That many gas points are required for executing the transaction. And one more thing is, if the transaction don't have 2, 3, 4, then only loading from memory. This is the only operation to be performed. So only 20 gas points will be spent. Like that, a block consisting of certain gas limit. So based upon the number of transactions which will be having their gas limit, which are less than, if you accumulate all the all the transactions and its corresponding gas points are less than this 1.05 million units. So how many transactions can fit? That many transactions will be fitted in the block. So this also we have seen pictorially, and also the via the going to the Etherscan website. Like here we have seen around 127 transactions were fitted in one block, which is of 4446308 block number. Next is mining and incentive model in Ethereum. It's a continuation to the previous slide. In case of blockchain, in case of Bitcoin blockchain, the winner will get the Bitcoin transaction fee and block creation fee of $3, so three Bitcoins. In case of the Ethereum, winner of the mining puzzle, example, if the proof of work is used, that means in general, in the public blockchain of Ethereum, proof of work is used, will be given 3 ethers plus transaction fee. So this is what the fixed model, 3 ethers plus the transaction fee. Winner also gets the fee for executing smart contract transactions. That means included transactions in the block consisting of any smart contract transaction. The winner of the mining puzzle will also get the smart contract transaction fees also. There may be other miners worked to solve the puzzle along with the winner. So they will also get some consolation amount. That may be small amount they will get. There is no fixed amount like how 3 ethers plus the transaction fee for the winners of the mining puzzle in the Ethereum. Even for the losers also they will get some amount. That is not fixed for every block creation. It will vary depending upon the number of transactions include contracts solved, depending on that. Miners who solve the puzzle but did not win the block are called as Umar blocks or Umars. So blocks created by Umars are called Umar blocks. Umar blocks may be added as a side chain to the main block, and Umars are also intensified with consolation gas points. Some consolation gas points for their encouragement, they will get it. Anyhow, the Ether compared to the Bitcoin, Ether conversion rate is somewhat lower. Obviously, they will also, the Umars will also get consolation gas points, and they will also get some very nominal amount. Even though they lose, they will get some amount. So that is what the advantage in the Ethereum. Even the winner will anyhow they will get 3 ethers plus the transaction fee, and the losers will get some gas points and corresponding ethers. So this is what the mining model of Ethereum. So finally, to briefly summarize this Ethereum, so Ethereum is a decentralized network, and decentralized network means you are aware of that decentralized network redistribute the function and power away from the central server, enabling peer-to-peer communication. So no central point of failure in case of decentralization, highly reliable, cost effective. And the blockchain you are already aware of, the most network function using the central authority to make final decisions. The blockchain, a type of decentralized network, is able to make agreements across the whole network without any central authority. So Ethereum is a kind of blockchain that takes full advantage of the peer-to-peer communication. So Ethereum's vision is to decentralize the internet by creating a platform where applications can be built and run on decentralized networks. Ethereum is a fast and flexible without the internet limitations of the Bitcoin protocol. So Bitcoin protocol has some internet limitations, but Ethereum is not like that. Ethereum can be considered as a world computer because of the advantage of this uh, full utilization of peer-to-peer communication and decentralized applications that you develop on top of the Ethereum blockchain. So on the left hand side in the bottom, you can see BitTorrent used for file sharing is an example of decentralized network. Like that, you may also create decentralized applications which will consider this entire Ethereum as the world computer. Why this is called as world computer means here whatever the smart contract transaction available in Ethereum will be executed on every Ethereum full node or minor node. So that is the reason there is no chance of getting failure in any corner in the decentralized network. So this is what the differences and the way of functioning of Ethereum with by comparing with the Bitcoin blockchain network.